Well, howdy, y'all. Welcome to another High Voltage Live show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder from NEC Code, coming to you live from the Mile High City of Denver, Colorado. Joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stallcup, the founder and inventor of Stallcup Electrical Education, the Stallcup Learning Management, the Stallcup Illustrated Code Change publication, and many, many other Stallcup products. So give them a big old hook 'em horns from the Mile High City. And really awesome that you put these together, James. I like your new intro. You have a lot of new little graphics and stuff. It's really cool. And like I say, you work hard working on the code change book, but as well working on our podcast and getting it together too. So it's pretty cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so ready for that code change book to be done. We have finished. Well, he's doing his final edit on chapter 3 right now, and I'm about halfway through the illustrations chapter 4, so I'm hoping here by the 1st of July we've got the first 4 chapters done. Then we just have 5, 6, 7, 8, which are nothing compared to those first 4. That's where most of it is.
All right, we already have John in the house. John was the last week's champion of the Willie Quiz, so welcome in, first time champion, so awesome. Took out Daniel's crown away from him, so that's pretty awesome, man. And I didn't expect it. I didn't even know if anybody was gonna get it, and then he just got it at the last minute. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. That was a fun one. So I do have an update for you, King James. It looks like Dak Prescott's gonna be back and healthy next for this season. The only problem is the defense he'll be throwing to is going to be healthy too.
Yeah.
Like the good part about Dak is he's like a boomerang. He just comes back just in time to ruin the season. So
I think it's going to be very interesting this year, just how they do. Dak has enough to that team. He should do good. But I don't know. I just don't trust his ass. I don't know how to say.
There's been like a lot of different reasons that you don't want to trust him. I think for like a fantasy perspective, I actually have Dak Prescott. What's funny was I took over a fantasy team, and he's on my team. We're going to redraft it. I won't have him for the season, but I just thought it was funny that I was like, I just randomly picked a team because it was one that got abandoned, and they were like, hey, you want to take over this team? I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, oh, dang it, I got Dak Prescott as my quarterback, But it was pretty funny. It's hard to say because, he's got a lot of weapons, and if he uses his wide receiver core like CD Lamb, on Pickens, like I think Pickens might actually be open a lot more, with that a lot of them double covering CD. So, we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for a fantasy perspective. I'm real excited about the Denver backfield, the Broncos. Their rushing attack's got to be awesome this year, and then getting Ingram in at the tight end spot, I think that lines up a lot with, what Bo Nix likes to do with the short dumps and stuff and little crossing routes and stuff. And, I think he could have a good year too. So we're pretty excited here in Denver.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm ready. They're I guess they're starting camps here pretty soon, aren't they?
Yeah. I think they already started the OTAs.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure if they had started or not yet. So.
Well, I already had a few leagues where we already drafted in fantasy. So, like I say, I give everyone the whole thing that it's never too early to draft in fantasy. My brother's like, I'm not drafting this early. You don't know what's going to happen. But I don't know. I kind of like it because I just somehow ended up with R.J. Harvey and Dobbins. And so I have both the Broncos running backs, and I think that's pretty cool. So, one of them doesn't play or something, I got the other one to start. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty fun. So we'll be doing the Monday Morning Coach show starting up when football season starts, and I'll be trying to get ahead of the fantasy stuff and try to get you guys ready for the fantasy draft and help you win 3 championships like I did last year. So that was pretty awesome. First year playing on ESPN, I won 3. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
you did pretty good last year.
Yeah, this year I got sleeper. I got a sleeper dynasty and I got ESPN. So I don't think I'm gonna do as good just because the sleeper's a little harder, and it's a dynasty, so anything could happen. But like I say, I'll try to get ahead of it and see what kind of good players are out there, like surprises and stuff, and we'll have a good show ready for you when football season starts. King James always brings the heat on the college side, and we have Mr. E jumping in the house. Electrical wizardry up in the house.
Hey, David.
Yeah,
hey,
you didn't miss anything.
June's on the learning management system for everybody for the NEC deathmatch.
Nice. Yeah, David, I gotta get caught up. I've been messing around too much. It's so hard when I'm working overtime because I don't have any extra time once I'm building the podcast and doing everything else and do the Willie Jackerson experiment on the weekends. It's just been tough, but I got to get over there and get caught up. Try to catch up to old David. And then we have old DJ jumping up in here. What's up, DJ?
He actually showed up.
Man,
after losing.
Sounds like he wants some of that. It's always Shark Week when Daniel's around. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Me and Daniel, we're going to the Metallica concert on Sunday, so it's gonna be fun. Go check it out.
That will be fun.
Yeah,
I'm sort of jealous y'all are going to that.
And it's the one night they have Pantera. I can't remember the other band. It was Pantera, and there's another band I like too. So we'll see. But one thing I want to just remind you is that the NFPA Cam and Knitmans is over, and we came out with this juicy soundbite.
We can make the products. No one's going to buy them because they'll probably be more expensive. And if you put them in the code, states don't adopt.
See, there we go. That's what happens. So
they're basically what he just told you there is we're going to put it in there because y'all wouldn't put it in, so therefore we'll put it in the code and force you to buy the product.
Yep, that's what's going on. David, you could pop in anytime, and it's pretty awesome. I really want to thank you, David, too, for joining me a few weeks ago when King James was out. We had a great conversation with Bryce Nesbitt of Electric EV Charging for All, and I think there's going to be some challenges. King James will kind of go into it more when he gets more into the code change, but there was a lot of what I call really stupid changes for 625. I don't get the qualified person one. I don't understand why that was so important to keep that language in there. That was weird. It's 625.4 for the 2026, and I don't really agree with it. I just think it's ridiculous, and I plan on getting my qualified person certification as soon as possible so I can do all kinds of good stuff with EBSE. But it's just, to me, there's no standard for it. So to me, it's just basically meaningless. But I
forgot to tell you, I forgot to load the meme up this week. So we're going to skip it. Yeah, I redid it. I finished it like an hour and a half ago, and I forgot to load it up. I was like, I had some other stuff I had to do, but we'll get it next week.
Yeah, it's all good. I want to just thank everyone for the participation this week. I always have a blast doing it, and I guess we'll have to roll right into the myth of the week.
All right.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right. Let's get
All right,
it all
so-
queued up here.
So it was pretty funny because I want to say I got everyone on the job site on this one, and it was pretty funny. I went around asking everybody, and everyone thought it was just good practice. And so it really kind of does bring up some of these points that, do we really need all this stuff in the code? You know, the code book is just getting bloated with all this stuff. And, you know, to me personally, I've never actually, I couldn't even tell you if I even knew if this was in the code or not. I've just always done it. But I did know it was in the code, and I knew that it was a code reference. What does David say? He says, I think we should had something to do with that. All the equipment at Tesla. To me, David, it's gonna be interesting with the whole thing. To me, I don't know how much of all the changes are gonna really be enforceable. It really puts a lot on the AHJ, in my opinion, because AHJ is gonna have to determine whether that person's qualified or not. I think that. You know, it's gonna be what they're trying to do is they're trying to eliminate like the DIY guys. Like, they don't want Willie Jackerson over there wiring up an EV for you, like plugging it in off your dryer circuit or whatever. So I think they want to make sure that you're running like an individual branch circuit for it. And I don't know. I don't know what the whole definition of qualified person is gonna entail for EBSE. Well, I guess we pass it and then we find out what it means. I guess that's what they are supposed to do. So,
Well,
we'll find out.
I want to answer this one because when you told me, we were talking about it, I said, well, that's a bunch of crap. and I went through and gave, when I was talking to you, I gave a full detailed explanation why I thought this was nuts, basically. And the reason that is because when you go in, and it doesn't matter if you go in and you look at the National Electrical Code 70E, I don't care, OSHA, whatever. Basically, when you look at the definition of a qualified person, it's basically going to tell you this is a person who has skills and knowledge related to the construction and operation of the electrical equipment. And the installations also has received all their safety training and everything to recognize and avoid any type of hazards that they could have exposure to. That's basically what a qualified person is. And even in Article 100 NEC, it'll even go in there and they'll tell you to go see 70E. There'll be an informational note that talks about the electrical safety training requirements, and then they also have the definition in Article 100. So with that being said, what happens a lot of times, you got facilities, and the facilities are going to determine what is considered a qualified person. But when you get to the states, this could be states, it could be county, it could be city, however they're set up with their license. There's a lot of jurisdictions now, they'll have like a master's license, they've got a journeyman license, they got residential electricians, then you also have sign electricians. So what I see that's a possibility that could take place here, if this is something that they're going to try to enforce and everything, it's probably going to put the onus on the states to come in and have a license for an electrical vehicle technician.
True.
That's what I think is a possibility of what could happen.
Well,
But right now, as far as the states are concerned, a journeyman's the one's been doing it. That's who the qualified person is to do the work.
well, and that was kind of one of the things that Tommy D said is that what happens when they put something in the code and there's no product? You just go back to doing what you did yesterday. So I guess essentially that's where I see it as being somewhat of a waste of ink. That there's really no training courses out there like to tell us, and then one of the things that would kind of crack me up when I was thinking about it, I think I texted you, James, is like, what if you're saying, okay, well, I'm a qualified person and this doesn't work on GFCI, so I could take the GFCI off now. You know what I mean? It like works counter against them because now you're saying, no, there's no safety thing on this because I'm a qualified person. I studied all the thing and there's no data that says anybody's been injured on this equipment, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this GFCI.
I'm going to show you how ridiculous some of this is and the arguments they make. I saw a post I actually commented on. I was getting ready this morning. I was just reading through some stuff, and I was like, I saw on NEC for Dummies, Jeremy calls you and I out. And I'm sitting there looking at the post, and I said, dude, you have no freaking clue what you're talking about in the outlet. So he talks about the outlet, and he circles where the terminations are as NEC. So I'm sitting there looking at it. I said, okay. I said, let's look at it this way. Y'all already have told me that the NEC overrides the manufacturer's listing and labeling and instructions. And I said, sure. I'm gonna give you that's what y'all told us. Let's just run with it. If that's the case, then if I have an outlet that's outside, is it required to be weatherproof?
Yep.
Yeah. But that enclosure right there isn't. So now what are you going to tell me? The code doesn't override that because that's a listed and labeled piece of equipment?
Yeah.
And this is where I have a problem with all this, is they're picking and choosing where they want to apply something. And that's why I told him, I said, does it have to be? Well, of course, he hasn't answered yet. And you notice he's not on here not starting stuff because he doesn't want to be called out probably. But the whole point behind it is they make these statements and they pick and choose where they want to apply the outlet. And then they want to come in and tell us that the NEC overrides the listing and labeling. And that's why I say if that AC unit's there and they tell you not to put GFCI protection on it and you say you can't do that, then why the hell isn't that enclosure weatherproof if the code overrides it?
And this is even funnier because he said, those conductors entering are wet location rated. I was like, dude, in order for that to be a wet location rated, every single conductor in there, you couldn't put that power conversion equipment in there. You couldn't put that contactor in there. Where does it say to install that contactor? It says install only in a dry location.
That's right.
And so it's a lot where they're picking and choosing, but we will digress and move on. So this was a really interesting myth of the week this week. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I went up and I asked people, hey, is this just a common practice that we've always done and we just still keep doing, or is it actually in the code? And everyone says it's just common practice, and I would probably say the same thing just off the top of my head, but it is actually in the code. This is 358.28, and there it is right there, 358.28A, and it tells you right there that you just got to remove the rough edges and ream it, and so like I say, kind of a simple one this week, but I just wanted to kind of get it out there for some of the kind of the younger guys to see this, and I was interested, I think that what's so cool is I could bring this to light with King James and say, hey, some of the simplest things, some of the dumbest questions are the ones that you don't ask. And so I like to bring this stuff to King James and just be like, hey dude, what do you think? When did this go in? Was this an original code? You know, like, did this start with when EMT started? You know, when did EMT go into the code? All kinds of little questions like that. You know, like maybe EMT doesn't go back to the 20s. You know, maybe they were using rigid, you know, because I remember seeing a lot of stuff that they were originally going to use gas. And so they actually pulled electrical wire in gas piping, you know. And I've seen a lot of that stuff from like the old days. And so, you know, just stuff like that is stuff that we've seen, and I kind of like to bring it to the audience out here on YouTube. And it's pretty awesome because, you know, there's possibility that Daniel might not have seen gas piping going to lights that they were gonna run gas. They were gonna gas power these lights, and then they ended up coming up with electricity, and they ended up just having these gas pipes there, and they just pull wire through them. Well, they didn't have radiuses, they didn't have all kinds of stuff, so they probably found out a lot of problems with trying to put, you know, conductors through that gas piping, and probably they had some problems where they got scuffed and, you know, arced out and stuff, and that's, I would imagine, probably when they started saying, hey, we got to do something about this.
Yeah.
And,
you know, it's sort of funny. Bill called last night. I'd been playing golf. I come back, house, pick Dad up, get something to eat. Dad gets in the car, and Bill asked a question. And all of a sudden, it was a training session about cable tray, and when it went in the code and explaining, that's when they actually, Dad explains, that's when they started adding industrial stuff, and Jerry and them assured us that that's never happened. I was like, and Dad, I said, well, they told us, Dad, it did. He goes, oh, don't listen to them dumbasses. He said, hell, I was there when they did it. I know what it went in for. and it was funny because he was telling us things that you used to could do, and then they took it out.
Right.
It was really interesting. I mean, he really knew.
Yeah.
And what was funny was, he was telling us the NEMA standards, VE1 and VE2, where they took it from different things, and also IEEE standards to help design the cable tray section. I mean, it was really interesting listening to him tell about it.
Dude, you know me. I always try to pick old man's brain, and I was kind of just talking about this latest argument that we're having and I sent you the screenshot on that. But it was really funny because I submitted public input to add sleeve to Article 100 to define sleeve. And they rejected it and said it's not needed because it's already defined in Chapter 9, Table 1, Note 2. And I sent you that screenshot. They're saying that a sleeve's not a raceway. So why these guys are trying to put raceway rules on a sleeve? I don't understand.
Yeah, Dad commented on that last night too, and he explained every bit of that. And when they put it in and everything, and he said these guys are saying that's a raceway. He said they don't know what the hell they're talking about. He said that's nothing but there to provide physical protection. And what did he do when I went over it a while back? He even said the same thing. The reason it's open on the ends and stuff is because it dissipates heat. That's why you don't have to worry about doing your too many current carrying conductors in the raceway and applying those adjustment factors. I mean, and he told all about it. It was unbelievable the way he explained it.
Yeah, the only time you do is if it's a raceway and it's completed on both ends.
That's right.
You know, so it's really interesting, and you know, like I say, that's why I started doing this Myth of the Week, because I really like stirring up stuff like that, and we really learn. I mean, there's stuff. There's been times before, I'll never forget when we had Senior on as a guest, and he was sitting there going over stuff, and we were just sitting there texting each other back and forth, like, can you believe this? Can you believe what he's talking about? Like, you know, like this is all comes from like the 70s, 80s. You know, and it blew me away. And next thing you know, he's all, "Pay attention, son! Switch the slide." I just thought it was funny. I was getting you in trouble by texting you.
That won't be the last time he's on my ass.
Yeah. So the myth this week is confirmed. Reaming your conduit is in the NEC, and it is 358.28a. So
Yes, it is.
make
All right.
sure you buy the tool that we're going to cover tonight.
All right, let's see where we're at here. Topic of the week. Yeah, let me go ahead and cue it up.
All right. Yeah, what I really thought was funny about it, not to interrupt you, but I was telling him not to jump. Oh, you guys got them big old trucks, and he needs to quit jumping out of your guys' big old trucks. So
Yeah, he does. He still thinks he's a young chicken, I guess. Well, folks, I was telling y'all this last week. Next week, we'll get through the rest of Article 305. It deals with systems that are over 1,000 volts AC and 1,500 volts DC nominal. But what you're going to see is a lot of the same language here. But we're going to look at it so you know what's here. They're going to talk about where you have installation of conductors with other systems. And this is where they talk about the raceways and cables where you're containing electrical conductors. And then they tell you it shall not contain any pipe, tube, or equal for steam, water, air, gas drainage, or any service other than electrical. Same thing we have over another one. Raceways and wet locations above grade, you got the same thing. Okay. And it's funny we bring that up because, that goes back to, like I was saying, and I brought this up to Jeremy then before, and I said, okay, well, if I take and put a box outside, I've got an outlet there, I've got a receptacle, and I take and run my pipe and everything and my conductors, does that all have to be weatherproof inside? And they said, yeah. So then why doesn't it, if the receptacle outlet has to be weatherproof, why doesn't other outlets? And what did they tell me? They said, well, that's a listed and labeled piece of equipment. And I said, well, wait a minute. Y'all told me the code overrides that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. You want to pick and choose how you want to apply something.
Yeah, the one big argument that I have is that the original thing, this is kind of the problem. This is when me and King James went and started kind of doing this podcast thing, is that it originally was the disconnect. And I kind of thought, you know what, that makes sense. I could see that disconnect, needing GFCI protection. You're going to be pressure washing, you get water in there and everything. But then King James is like, well, no, the disconnect's a switch. That can't be an outlet. Then all of a sudden, magically, the outlet moves out to the unit. So that was kind of where I was like, wait a minute, you just put it wherever you want now, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then here's another good one that just as we were talking about. This gets into making sure you provide provide effective electrical continuity between your raceways and stuff. And it just tells you that all these raceways and cable assemblies, they have to be what? Mechanically secured to boxes, fittings, cabinets, or other enclosures, period. Okay? Just like we would do anything else. Now, if it's not mechanically secured in between each one of those, then it's not a raceway. You're putting a pipe in there or something that you're just providing physical protection for, which becomes a sleeve, which is what we've been talking about. Now, a nipple, it's going to be mechanically between enclosures, and it's going to be secured, but it's going to be 24 inches or less. So This is just another good example here. Even when we're getting into the high voltage systems, we're still doing the same thing. Then they get in the 305-21, and you get into this one, and this is where you get into your securing and supporting, and it tells you everything has to be securely fastened in place And then they talk about your wiring systems that are installed above suspended ceilings. Okay. And they tell you the same thing where you have fire rated assemblies and you come over here and pick up non-fire rated assemblies. And they tell you about the support wires and everything has to be distinguishable by color, tagging, or some other effective means. Same
So
thing.
that would be 311 and under
Yep.
1,000 volts, right?
That's right.
So
And that's
that
what-
didn't change.
No, it just a little wording changed here and there, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when we're doing our medium voltage in a grid ceiling, we. I don't know.
I'm never going to see it, but they do have it in here, so I have to show it so everybody knows. And then they get into their mechanical continuity for the raceways and cables, and it's got to be continuous between them. If it's not continuous, once again, it's not a raceway. That's what they've been trying to tell you. And the only time you can get away from that is where you're coming into the bottom of open equipment. And that's what the exception is right there. But other than that, it's got to be mechanical continuity between it. It's got to be mechanically secure from end to end. And then they go in and they pick up the mechanical and electrical continuity for the conductors. It's treated like the same way. Everything is mechanically connected. And that's what a raceway is. And what's interesting, you get in here, it says mechanical continuity, raceways, and cables. Yeah. And then they tell you mechanical electrical continuity for what? Conductors. Yeah. I don't see sleeves or anything else in there. I mean, it's all there for everybody to see.
I almost sent you the screenshot, but I got the list price for the 2026. What would you guess the list price for the 2026 is?
2026 NEC?
Yeah.
I'll bet you it's probably going up to about $125.
160.
That's expensive.
Yeah, that's what I said. But it's 140 for members.
I'm a member. I was thinking the last one, I think we paid $125, $130 for it, I thought.
Yeah, mine was 130. 2023 was 130 for me.
All right. Now, looky here. Boxes, conduit bodies, or fittings were required. Then it gets in, it starts talking about this, and it says it shall only be used with the specific wire methods for which they are designed and listed. Then it goes in, it talks about wiring methods with interior access. Then it has equipment. And looky there, we brought this up, Jeremy said, an integral junction box or wiring department as part of approved equipment shall be permitted in lieu of a box. Okay? It didn't say in lieu of an outlet. It said in lieu of what? A box. Now that's interesting. And the reason I bring up because it talks about an integral junction box or wiring compartment that is part of approved equipment. So this is equipment. It should say shall be permitted in lieu of an outlet instead of a box if it's an outlet.
Yeah.
But just pointing it out.
Yeah.
Then they get in the fittings here. Point. Fitting identified for use shall be permitted in lieu of a box or conduit body. We've been over that before, showed that. Gets into your direct buried conductors and cables, talks about your enclosures, and it just tells you here a box or conduit body shall not be required where a splice, switch, terminal, or pull point is in an enclosure. So that's other, of course, than surrounding fences and walls. And then they get into your man hose and your hand hole enclosures, and then you got your covers required. The same things we look at in Article 300 for 1,000 votes or less, or 300.15 to be exact. Then, look at here, number and size of conductors and cables and raceways. They get into the raceway field, and then they talk about your trade sizes in here, or metric designators, whatever you want to look at.
Why wouldn't they say raceway and sleep bill?
Well, makes you wonder. But if you look at it, it goes in and it tells you the same thing, that when you're installing the the number and size of the conductors and cables in any of these raceways, they shall not be more than will permit what? Dissipation of heat and ready installation or withdrawal of the conductors or cables. Okay, so that's another thing. You got to worry about heat dissipation. Well, if it's open on the end, it's going to dissipate heat. You know, and I feel like what we've done over time in presenting this and everything, we've been pretty exact on this. And we have things to back everything up we're saying. They just give their opinion and say, well, that's what it means. Well, you got to look at all this other stuff too.
Yeah. And that's the whole reason why I submitted so many public inputs. I think I submitted about 11. And it was really funny because, like, I didn't know. I was kind of just throwing a bunch of mud up against the wall, see what stuck. Mm-hmm. And it was really funny because I kind of just wanted clarification. And, you know, my 625-54B actually passed. So, boom, yeah, everyone out there got one in. But the thing that was funny was I tried to make it go both ways. So if it gets rejected, there's no outlet at hardwired equipment. If it gets accepted, if there is an outlet at hardwired equipment, it's installed.
Yeah.
So it passed and the outlet's installed. So we gotcha.
And here they get in, once again, you get into your raceway installations, they tell you they have to be what? Complete runs, and you can't weld raceway for it to be supported, of course. But once again, same type of information. And then look here, they get in and they add the same information where you're supporting these conductors where they're installed in vertical raceways. And it gets in and they got all this information here. It talks about the intervals you need to look at the type of rise that you're doing. You'll look at table 305.29A, the same table when you're looking at fire resistive cables and conductors. And then they talk about the support methods used, and they tell you they can be clamping devices or you could be inserting boxes at the required intervals in which the insulating supports are installed and secured in an approved manner to withstand the weight of the conductors attached thereto. Okay,
man. I mean, that's, to me, it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't see where this, like, I don't see why this is in the NEC. Like,
I don't either.
I don't get it, man.
But that's why I put it in here so everybody can see what is going to be in here. And then they get into the same things that we have there where they talked about induced currents in ferrous metal enclosures and ferrous metal raceways. And this is where they're talking about where they're grouped together or they're individual conductors, just like we have in Article 300. Now, one of the things that we're going to do in this particular publication is we're also going to refer back to the exact sections that are in Article 300 for 1,000 votes or less. So,
dude, can you imagine if you had mass hysteresis with medium voltage? Man, that'd be incredible.
Yeah. And then look there, 305.31, it deals with the spread of fire or products of combustion, just like we have over there. And this is where they're talking about you have those electrical installations that are in hollow spaces or in vertical shafts and also in the ventilation or air handling ducts. So basically, they're basically just telling you that they're put in a certain way to make sure there's no possible spread of fire or products of combustion. That's what they're looking at. And as you go in, you look at all this stuff, you're picking up exactly the same type of information. And next week, this will be 3 weeks in a row that we've actually looked at Article 305 and all the new information that has been added.
Wow. Sorry, I was premature on my goal celebration.
No worries. But it really goes
I had to give you the goal.
It really goes to show a lot of stuff that has been added. And I think in Chapter 3, we did roughly right at 70 illustrations for Chapter 3. Wow. That chapter 2 was pretty close to that, and then chapter 1 was like 42, I think it was. And it looks like in chapter 4 we're going to have about 25, 30 in there. So that brings us to 5 and 6, and I figure it'll be 20, 30 in each one of those, or maybe up to 40 maybe. But even if we have 30 in each one, I mean, that's 60. So, you know, in chapter 7 and 8, I don't expect a lot to be in there, 10 at the most on each. So we're looking at roughly 250 to 300 changes we're going to cover.
So I want to give you a suggestion from one of my apprentices.
Right.
They have this game. It's some kind of like some kind of, I don't know what kind of game, but it's some kind of game, and they have like a frequently asked questions. And I think it'd be cool if you put together a Stall Cups frequently asked NEC questions, because I think there's a lot of questions that just keep getting asked the same over and over and over, you know? And you can put it together as the Stall Cups frequently asked questions book. I thought that was a good thing. So shout out to you, Javier. That was a good idea. I like it.
What was that?
I think that'd be
very good.
What's that?
Javier had something. What did he say?
That you should have a Stall Cup frequently asked questions of the code edition, where you just a little pamphlet you put out, and it could be like 10 questions, like top 10 frequently asked questions that people ask, and then you just answer them, you know? And I think that'd be kind of cool. Just a little pamphlet you put out, and you know, it'd be like, hey, is a sleeve a raceway? No. Simple, you know what I mean? But you know, then people wouldn't have to keep you know, listening to all these myths and all this stupid stuff. And that's why we do Myth of the Week.
We could do something like that. I mean, that, you know, I could see us doing something like that. Matter of fact, let me show everybody. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I'm going to share a screen real quick, show everybody.
Yeah,
so
you're good.
Give them an idea here real quick. Where do I have that thing at? I had it up earlier. There it is. Okay. Let me share here. I'll show everybody what we got here. So this is going to be chapter 3, to give everybody an idea of the type of illustrations you're going to see out of this. But they've made a whole lot of different little things here that you need to pay attention to.
Oh man, you guys aren't even following the 360-degree rule over there, huh?
Well, that's because that was one of the changes. Shall not exceed. We did it on purpose and put an X there to show you that's a violation of that 5th bin. But
I'm just kidding.
we did a whole lot of different things here. And see, this is where you start getting into Article 305. And as you come in here, you're going to see a lot of things in here. And you're going to see referrals back and all kinds of stuff that's been done. But we wanted to make absolutely sure we put something in here that is easy to follow, that you know where everything went, what took place. This is where we're getting in exposed different temperatures. But this is where you get into installation of these conductors, and where we feel that you're going to see this mainly will be in cable tray. So what we did, we made sure we put the cable tray in here, you know, and showed it like it'd be in an industrial facility. And then
and that's kind of stupid too, because it doesn't matter the voltage, we still do the same rule. So
yeah,
it goes into that whole thing what you're saying about them picking and choosing, because we're never gonna skirt any of these requirements. Like when it's a requirement, like it doesn't matter if it's in the code or not, we know why it's in the code. We're gonna make sure that raceway is sealed. Doesn't matter the voltage. We don't sit there and go, oh man, this is under 1,000. We don't have to do it. You know, like that's so ridiculous.
Like here's a good one here. This illustration actually has a lot in it, but this one we just finished up with, where we got in, we were talking about the induced currents in your metal enclosures. And we actually go in and we set up here in the middle of this, and we talk about the phase currents canceling in the neutral here. and showing the
Right.
phase current relationship and all of that. So, and then it's sort of hard to see, but we show how the magnetic fields roll around these conductors inside the conduit. So
Yeah, so just so some of the like younger guys that don't know what we're talking about, you have like electromagnetic force with your phases that get forced in, and so every time that one of those conductors pushes power, it's like 60 times a second. You'll have a counter push from the other conductors, almost kind of like a three-piston Harley that's just push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. Well, you put those in the same raceway so that they counteract each other, and you basically have like a balanced electromagnetic force. And what happens is you get this effect called mass hysteresis. And what happens is when you put all the conductors in the same conduit and they don't have opposing phases to counteract the EMF, then you'll get what you call a mass hysteresis, and it'll be an induction heating of the Ferris Raceway.
mm-hmm.
And it's always in a raceway too. It's not in a sleeve.
Well, I just think all of this here, I think this gives everybody a great representation of what you're going to see in the code change book. And I encourage everybody, go compare with everything else.
Yeah.
You'll see some of them coming out, but you'll notice even up here at the top, we have other standards to review that we put the sections in for you to review and stuff, from OSHA, 70E, 70B, UL. We get you in the general vicinity if there's something that you're looking for there. But you can see I'm still in chapter 3, and I've just been scrolling the whole time. I hadn't stopped. We even redrew here showing you what cable bus actually looks like and everything.
Nice.
I mean, there has been a lot of work that's been done to this. We did the multi-outlet assemblies, auxiliary gutters. I mean, it just goes on and on. But that gives you an idea of what you're going to look at when you get into this.
So, just letting you guys know, all you people out there that purchase the Colorado Continuing Education, you get the Stall Cup code publication PDF for free. Thanks from Willie for pushing hard. I got gypped on some code changes, and boom, I fought for the people, and I got it done. Now you get the full code change book PDF with purchase of your state continuing education class. So that's what I do. I'm out there for the people, man. I'm out there. I'm bringing heat to all these these fat cats up there. The one percenters, man. I'm taking it. I'm taking it back for the little guy, man. I'm taking it on, man. So
I think everybody will be really
it.
impressed with the code change book this time. So
yeah.
One of the things that's interesting we've been working on is trying to make the illustrations more technical looking, and
right.
I think we achieved that. We moved some color out of it from here, and we readjusted everything, and we ran about probably 10 different ways that we did it, and then we decided that this was the best looking for as far as a technical publication was concerned. And that's why you're going to see it looking a little bit different, but it looks very clean. So that's the best way.
I say you scored a goal. I probably didn't get a goal that was long enough. I wanted to do like a 10-minute goal, but I mean, it's not that long. So, but no, dude, it's totally awesome. I really appreciate it, and like I say, big shout out to you. The whole reason, so everyone knows, I took King James's 2020 continuing education for the state of Colorado, and I just was totally like, this is the freaking best content I've ever seen from educator, and that's the whole reason I decided to do this podcast. You decided to do it, but it was cool. You brought me on and brought me along. And it's really fun. It's really fun doing it. And like I say, both of us enjoy learning. We learn every day. Nobody knows everything unless you're Jeremy Weed, then you know everything. But, like I say, we're always learning. We're not afraid to learn new things. And like I say, we have over 100 years of, electrical education at our fingers, and it's just that's the whole reason we decided to do this podcast and just have fun messing around and tell you why all of a sudden after 100 years the definition of the outlet had to get changed because of us. So that was pretty funny. I thought it was hilarious. And then they're like, no, it didn't need to get changed because it was perfectly clear. Well, then they wouldn't need to change it.
That's right. Damn right.
But
exactly.
I thought it was funny because they proposed to change it to the conductors that terminate at the utilization equipment, which means there's no outlet at cord and plug connected anymore. And then that screwed up their whole argument. So they got really mad. And like I say, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun this cycle. We got involved. I really love 62554 where you mentioned hardwired outlet and they rejected it.
Well, the way they wrote it, it said that. I mean,
yeah, installed at hardwired outlet, and they were like, no, it's just there. But it's installed, but it's there. You know what I mean? It's to me, the way it's written right now, it's a boat anchor. It's 100% unenforceable.
Yeah,
but
it says outlet is installed for the equipment to be connected. I mean, how can you connect equipment to something that ain't installed?
The inspector comes up to me and says, hey, this EVSE needs GFCI protection. I'd be like, I didn't install no outlet.
No.
I mean, what's he going to use to prove I did? Oh, no, there's always an outlet there. No, there isn't. Like, point it out. Show me.
Where's that outlet installed? That'd be my whole argument.
The funniest part about that was when I went into pools, because they said that this outlet, this mystery outlet that they can't locate, it's sometimes at the disconnect. You even have one on that where it's like not always at the disconnect. Like what? It's not always at the disconnect? Oh, okay. And the whole thing is like, okay, so it can be at the disconnect, and then what if that disconnect's 10 foot from the pool edge? Then I could just say the outlet's there, and then I'm 10 foot away, and I could dive off my utilization equipment into my swimming pool. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like, and then they're like, no, because we changed that 20 minutes after the whole disconnect thing was shot down. But then you still have these educators out there that saying the outlet's still at the disconnect because it's easier to understand. No, it's not. I mean, especially if the outlet's installed. To me, you can install an outlet on any circuit you want.
You know what gets me? Is they told me, oh, you suck as an educator, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, Ryan said it was at the disconnecting means. Mike said it was at the disconnecting means. I showed them where it wasn't. You know what their response was? Well, at least they know there's an outlet somewhere. I was like, that's your argument. You're good.
And to me, my argument is there could be an outlet anywhere if you install one. Like, you look at my, public input for individual branch circuit. Because I said that and to me it's weird because the more, they talk about, their arguments and stuff, the more I think that my public input made sense. Because it said an individual branch circuit is a branch circuit that connects to one outlet utilization equipment connects to, right? And that would just mean there's always an outlet there, and then the utilization equipment connects to that outlet that's always there. And they're like, no, it's not necessarily that only one outlet exists. Okay, so that means that you have two types of branch circuits then. You have a branch circuit that connects directly to utilization equipment, and you have a branch circuit that can have an outlet installed that you connect the utilization equipment to. But the whole thing is, you get into I want to say it's getting real close to where you only have an outlet if it's cord and plug connected.
Yeah.
I mean, because the minute you hardwire it, the outlet disappears.
Yep.
I mean,
I
that's the
agree.
way I look at it. I don't know. It's a lot of fun doing it, but you want to do a tool?
Yep. Let me cue it up.
All right.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by the Christians Only Tool Review.
So, I think you might have just not changed the description. Oh yeah, you got it.
I
You
did
just didn't
there.
change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. So this is a really cool tool. It's an apex for your impact, and it has a reamer on it. So they give you like multiple different options on here. The thing I like about this is I have one of these really cool DeWalt impacts that you could set the torque on, and so I could actually use it on different kinds of electrical equipment without damaging it or anything. It stops you the minute that you get too much or not like the right amount of torque on it. Like I say, we're gonna get into some of this torque arguments in the future, because a lot of people say you can't use impact on breakers and receptacles and all this stuff, and you probably can if you're really careful. To me, like, I'll ask my apprentice, do you know the torque on a receptacle terminal? And if they say no, then they can't use impact on it, because then they use too many ugga-duggas. But the thing I do like about this, I had the pleasure of using this today. Stole my apprentices for a little while, checked it out, and it works really good. I really give Milwuakee props to this. Actually, we have covered different kinds of reamers. They have one for the bandsaw that goes on the bandsaw wheel. I would way rather use this than the one that goes on the bandsaw wheel. This one's way more sturdy. It's impact rated. And I really would recommend this to a lot of guys out there. I would actually say my whole crew I'm working with now, actually probably at least half of them have this in their tool bag. So, like I say, I do not own one yet, but I am going to go get one, because it's the cat's meow, so to speak, with the new tool that us Sparkies need to run with, because you could just keep it on your impact. You could go in there, you could do whatever you normally do, and then if you need a ream pipe, you already got it right there. So you only use one tool, and I really like this. That I'm a one tool guy, one tool and you do multiple jobs. So like I say, I don't think it's too outrageous. I want to say it's in the less than $20 range, but I cannot confirm or deny the price in your area. But like I say, my review, a really good tool. I haven't found one single negative thing yet on that baby. Like I say, one of the guys mentioned, I'd like to see how long it lasts, So we might have to have a follow-up review if somebody breaks theirs, if somebody rubs the Milwuakee logo off and it breaks or whatever. They might have that, some kind of setup where if the Milwuakee logo rubs off, then it automatically breaks. But I cannot confirm or deny that at this point, so we'll see.
All right.
We'll see what happens, but like I say, that's the only thing that's up in the air. I think it's a relatively new product, but like I say, I'm getting one. I'm getting one this weekend. I'm going out and getting one, because that's gonna be on my impact.
All right. Let's see. We're right at 8 o'clock. So you want to do the Willie quiz?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let me do it up.
Dude, big shout out to Adam. That was so awesome. Adam made me that intro. That was so cool. Adam runs a podcast called Team SOS, and go check out Team SOS right away because Adam's a badass. All right.
Cheers. Oh, I'm be good at this one.
Oh, yeah, I told you it was easy. All right, so question number 1. What was the name of the bar before Sam Malone bought it and renamed it to Cheers? Was it A, the Bull and Finch Pub? Was it B, the Melville Lounge? Was it C, the original Cheers? Was it D, it was always named Cheers? E, Lucky Shot Lounge. Good luck, everyone.
I know this one.
All right, so right out of the gate, we got John Waite going. It was always called Cheers.
Nope.
Oh, John,
Nope.
nice. Then we got Daniel, DJ, going the Bull and Finch Pub.
That's it.
So,
A's answer.
All right, so King James is going A. You guys are all wrong. It was B, the Melville Lounge. I'd like to get a challenge flag on that one, too.
There may be a challenge flag because I thought it was the Bull and Finch Pub.
I would like to see a challenge on that one.
Here, I'll look it up. Let me type
All
it
right.
in. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was the Melville Lounge. Like, I did a little bit of research.
Was the bar name before becoming Cheers?
We might have it. We have a challenge on the line, folks.
The original name of the bar was the Bull and Finch Pub.
All right, King James gets the right answer. So sorry about that. My research must have been wrong. All right, question number 2. Which Cheers character never appeared in the Frasier spinoff despite being a major player on the original show? Was it A, Sam Malone? Was it B, Carla Tortorelli? Was it C, Woody Boyd? Was it D, Coach Ernie Pertiso? Or was it E, Norm Peterson? Good luck, everyone. And
So
already,
this is an interesting one because
John
now-
is going Sam. John is going Sam Malone.
my first instinct was Carla.
Ooh, yeah, she was. Like, wasn't she in Taxi?
I think she was, but she was with the original before they had. Then Diane came in, and then you had Kirstie Alley that came in, and it was like her and Diane used to get into it all the time. But Coach Ernie Pentuso, he died and was replaced by Woody.
Right.
I remember that.
Looks like Daniel is copying John and going A, Sam Malone.
It's B or D, but I'm trying to think of. Because the sitcom started in '82, and the reason I know that because that was the year I graduated high school, and I was
Right.
watching it. Arnie Pantuso. I'm trying to remember when he died because he was there quite a few in the spinoff Frasier had started in, so he could have been on there. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Carla. I think Ernie had been on that show before.
All right, that's a really good answer. You should have picked D because it was Ernie Pantuso because he died before he could have been part of the show Frasier. But yeah, everyone else was part of the show Frasier except Ernie Pantuso. So
Okay.
King James with his one flag challenge gets a half a point. So a tie will give him a victory. You cannot tie King James tonight with his one challenge flag. All right. Question number 3. what is the name of Norm Peterson's never seen wife? Was it A, Vera? Was it B, Carla? Was it C, Loretta? Was it D, Nancy? Or was it E, Heidi? Good luck, everyone.
If anybody had ever watched Cheers, he always said it. He had to go home to her. Norm did.
Yep.
So you would
It
know
was.
this name because it was said many, many times.
John goes Carla.
No, not Carla.
Daniel goes
Yeah.
A.
Vera. It's Vera.
A is the correct answer, Vera. So King James takes the lead tonight with 2 correct answers and a 0.5 challenge flag correction. Question number 4.
I know this one.
What was Sam Malone's jersey number when he played for the Boston Red Sox? Was it A 16? Was it B 21? Was it C 11? Was it D 14? Or was it E 17? Good luck, everyone.
I'll let everybody else guess because I know the answer to this.
All right, it looks like is Daniel taking A 16? Looks like Daniel's taking A 16. So
It is 16. It's a 16.
the number 16. All right, Daniel's going A. No answer from John yet. We'll give a couple more seconds for people to try to guess. We have a challenge flag. My answer is calling C11. So King James could have his second challenge flag. John is going C. He's going C way before I even. So John could have correct answer. I could have the wrong answer. The answer I have says 11. So let's get a challenge flag out there for this Sam Malone's jersey number.
Oh, I've almost got it. Cheers. Okay, let's see what it says. I thought it was 16. Let's see. Let's see here. Sam Monday Malone. this way. Okay.
I try to do pretty good research on, like, I try to ask a bunch of different ways just in case I get challenged live.
Well, the AI summary, it says to find Sam Malone's baseball number sitcom Cheers, consider these points. Sam Malone's jersey number is 16.
All right, I'm gonna have to give it to you. Challenged, and you got it. So
I could
don't
have
know.
swore it was that. I was looking. I want to see something here. Just if they say
I wanted
anything.
to give John the correct answer. Like, dude, I did some research and it said when he played for the Red Sox though, because he could have just wore a jersey around there
Well,
that was 16.
There was
I don't
actually
know.
a guy that his name was Sam Malone,
Yeah,
and here's former
yeah. That's.
Red Sox player. Let's
Oh,
see.
did you do Sam Malone of Cheers?
Yeah,
All right, I'll
that's
give it to
that's
you.
what it's about, isn't it? Based on Cheers.
Yeah, but when he played for the Boston Red Sox.
Nope. It says here the number 16 on his Boston Red Sox was his nickname as a relief pitcher. Remember 1975 Red Lobsters team or American League
All
title.
right.
So yeah, I mean that even for the main guy, they got him as 16 too.
All right, so John got it wrong, I got it wrong, and King James, 2 correct challenges tonight. Sorry about that, folks. I will try to do better research in the future. All right, so which character had doctorate and insisted in being called doctor? Was it A, Lilith Sternin? Was it B, Fraser Crane? Was it C, Clip? And was it D, Diane Chambers? Or was it E, Carla Tortorelli? Good luck, everyone.
Okay,
All right,
I'll give
King
everybody.
James.
I'll give everybody a hint on this. It's a she. She came in later in the series of Cheers, all them years that it was on. She came in later, and she worked with Fraser Crane. So that should help you know who it is.
Okay. So Daniel's going B, Frazier.
Nope.
So
Nope.
John's going C, Clip.
Lilith.
Dude, can you imagine?
It's Liz Stern, and I know 100% fact it's her.
Can you imagine Clip saying call him doctor?
Yeah.
Dude, that's hilarious.
He's a postman. Clayton was a postman.
He's changing to Diane Chambers. Oh, dude. All right. Okay.
It's not Diane.
All right.
I was trying to remember what Diane exactly did. That's interesting because I remember when she came in. Wasn't she something like a sportscaster or something like that? That she was into the media. I think that's right. I think that's what she was doing.
That's a pretty good one because I know there was some exchanges with her and Sam on that a little bit, but I don't remember exactly. So that's a really good thing. So we got another challenge flag. Seems like Daniel picked Dr. Fraser Crane. Is that correct? This one was really tough for me because I went and I did research on this and I was like, what? And I thought Lilith would have been wanted to call doctor, but supposedly what they said was it was Fraser Crane and he said it like a lot.
He did, but he
So-
never insisted on it.
Okay. This could be a triple challenge, and King James could walk away here with the hands down victory, totally crushing me. You know.
Let me.
And I will never like post a quiz until I do like triple research.
Did Lilith? I'll just type in their name. It's easier that way.
Or just what character
Sternin insist on being called Doctor. Cheers.
They said it was
There we go.
Fraser, which I agree, but I don't know.
Yeah, it says she consistently insists on being called doctor to emphasize her credentials, and is why she working on it. Let me check on what it says about Fraser Crane, because
Like I say, this is like the worst quiz I've ever done. So I apologize, everyone out there. I should have did more research. I just trusted the information I got, and apparently I didn't get the best information.
No, he never does. He often emphasizes his professional title to exert his expertise. Blah blah blah. Fraser's insistence reflects his desire and respects for recognition. Yeah, see there, he didn't insist on calm. He just always talked about him being a doctor. But Lilith always talked about, insist everybody call her Dr. Lilith. I'll never forget it. I remember when she came on, she worked with Fraser, and she started coming to the bar time, was in a lot of the shows, and she was always insisting that they call her Doctor.
All right. Well, tonight, King James gets the win. He schools everyone on Cheers. And that was a freaking awesome win for King James. He finally gets his first win of like the last 3 months. So pretty freaking awesome that he crushed us all. And we had 3 successful challenges. So you essentially get 6.5 points tonight. And like I say, very crushing. Don't even need the tiebreaker.
I know my Cheers pretty good. I used to watch that all the time. When I was younger, I watched All in the Family. I watched the Jeffersons, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. I know all of those, man. I watch those all the time.
Well, you sure showed that you know Cheers better than all of us, and like I say, that's why you suggested that I do. And like I say, it's pretty funny. The champs,
muscle right there, baby.
You get the champs. The champs get a pick what the topic is, and Daniel picked what was it? What did he pick? It was Seinfeld.
Yeah, I knew nothing on Seinfeld. I never.
Oh, dude. So like I say, maybe I should let Daniel pick to try to stump you again, but it's so much fun doing these, just like joking around with you guys. We all have a really long work week, and we have John over there working in the union, and Daniel over there, and it's really cool. I can't wait to go to Metallica. It's gonna be awesome, Daniel. Like I say, we just have a lot of fun doing these, and that's what it's all about. And so our next segment is for all those kids who want to cheap. Oh yeah, dude. Daniel loves that, dude. He's like, the union. Like, he always sends me these ones. He's like, another perfect union installation. Or he says, another perfect non-union installation, because we used to always do that, because I would tell him, like, dude, if you say this is perfect, like, you just put it on any kind of social media, and you say a perfect installation, dude, people just lose their minds. Like, they're like, oh, dude, that screw's not straight up and down. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. Like, it's just like, what? Like, it blew, and Daniel saw it. He saw it firsthand, but, yeah, dude. So it's pretty awesome, you know? Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, you guys did? Man, oh, dude.
I didn't do no climb, but I drove up there.
Yeah.
That's a long ass way up there.
Dude, that's cool, man. 14,000, dude. I can't believe they do it at 100 miles an hour. Like, to me, that's just incredible. Like, that's just ridiculous.
No way.
Like,
No way.
I don't know how you go that fast up there, but I don't know. It is what it is. But, so anyway, the kids, a lot of the apprentices say they could just cheat on their, electrical school by using ChatGPT. So I made this segment to find out, can you just cheat on your homework with ChatGPT? King James will hopefully get his. I think you only got 3 wrong, but I think it's 100 and. I think it's 3. But 108th correct in a row, and ChatGPT has, I think, like maybe 2 in a row.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's got the last 2.
Yeah, so we'll see if it can go. ChatGPT can go for 3 in a row, and man versus machine.
Here we go.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
So we missed Adam, and we have the pickle shot here, so gotta do my pickle shot for Adam. Love you, Adam.
All right.
Miss you, Adam.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
So this is kind of cool because this is like a specific section, and I actually, if you dissect this, you could say this code reference could be incorrect.
No, I know this one. This is in Article 675. I think it's like 4B or 4C, something like that. But
True.
it's 48 inches. I know it's B.
True.
I remember doing it. As a matter of fact, the reason I sort of remember doing this because I think I put it one of the questions in the NEC death match. Okay. It seems like recent. Right. I remember this.
So my question for you is, what do you think would be considered, like if you dissect this, what would you be considered wrong on this?
Well, I guess E, because you'd have to have some type of support. I don't know what else you'd be asking.
So if you look at the irrigation cable secured by straps, hangers, or similar fittings, though, like straps and supports and hangers are not fittings. And so if they were fittings, they would have to be listed. So do irrigation cable supports have to be listed? Because if they do have to be listed, then they could be fittings. But to me, honestly, I think that could possibly be a mistake in the language. Because all fittings must be listed. But
well, you got to remember, Chapter 6 supplements or modifies the first 4 chapters.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Yeah. So that would be my argument on that.
All right. Well, I'm just pointing out, going back to Chapter 3, wiring methods. But let's see what ChatGPT has to say.
I got a question for you. I got my little meme there, and I'll see if you can answer it. Why is Monday so far from Friday, yet Friday is so close to Monday?
They're just days that end in a Y.
No, it's just a joke. It's like
Alright.
Monday through Friday's 5 days. It's so far away, but when we get to Friday to Monday, it's only a couple of days.
Yeah, I got you. All right.
Okay, let me share this.
You just made my weekend shorter. Thanks a lot.
All right, I need ChatGPT. There we go. Let me increase this a little bit. I already got it put in. Let's see what it's. Oh, let me go over here. Give me a second. I need to go over to NFPA link. Give me a few seconds. We'll load up here and see if I was right on the section. Okay, I said 675 for B or C. Okay, I'm here.
I didn't know. I knew it was in chapter 6. I didn't know what number chapter 6.
Yeah, it was 675.4 C. Okay, I was right. I knew it was B or C. I just couldn't remember which one. Okay.
You got it.
So looking at ChatGPT, let's see how it answers. 72 inches, 6 foot apart. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, ChatGPT, you're killing me, man. Oh man.
It has 675.5 E. There's no such section. I don't know where the hell it's getting that from.
Oh man. And it even says King James.
Still remains spring. I'm gonna tear it up.
Oh man. Dude, ChatGPT knows King James and still gets shredded. Dude, the thing that was crazy was when I posted it, I went and asked, and it got it right. I'm like, I'm so mind boggled. I don't understand, like, what is AI doing? Why is it not learning? Why is it not learning from the right people like King James?
I don't know.
That's
They say 5.4 C states 1, 2, 3. Therefore, the answer is 48 inches. You're absolutely right. Blah, blah. Yep. Okay, there we go.
All right. Just educating AI. So you got another victory. Dude, King James is just on fire tonight, man. That's crazy. What'd you say?
I didn't say anything. I was just putting up
No,
there.
I'm saying, what did ChatGPT, like when you zoomed in, that was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, it just said you're absolutely right. The accurate reference is what I told it to go to. It says, thanks for keeping the code straight. King James wins again. I'll tighten up my references next time.
All right. So, ChatGPT, no go. Not so good.
That's what happens when you're playing with the big boys.
Dude, I was telling everybody, I was like, dude, my brother's like, dude, it's AI. It's always right. I'm like, nope. Not always right. So, man takes another victory tonight. So, dude,
I'm on a roll. I'm going to go have steak dinner tonight.
There was actually one night, and King James can vouch for this, where you and ChatGPT both got it wrong.
Yeah.
So we're being fair and partial and everything on this. So we're not just giving King James the automatic win on everything. So
no,
congratulations.
I actually every question that's come up, I've answered it straight up with no code book or anything.
Yep, 100% proven. So, all right, let's go to what? Wall of Shame's the only thing left?
Wall of Shame's left.
Shame. 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 Shame.
right. Let's see what we got here today. What the hell?
Yeah, that one. Phew. Like, so it's crazy because actually one of my apprentices showed me this and was like, "Oh man, did you see this?" And I didn't, and I was like, "Oh man!" Then I went and found out it's on our group, the Electrical Wall of Shame, or actually not the, but Electrical Wall of Shame. And so I thought it was pretty cool. This definitely gets a freaking Wall of Shame nomination, and
Wow.
dude. Like,
That is something
crazy.
else.
Submitted by Leland Greenfield. Thanks so much for
That's
submitting
a
it.
panel board.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be an AC unit. We just call it an outlet, right?
I mean, that up on the roof, that's a freaking panel board.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, to me, it's weird because I don't see how they're doing the conductors. A lot of people are saying it's fake, but wouldn't you have to, like, go through, like, use that as a raceway to your meter, then come out of your meter back to the panel board, and then feed your equipment downstream?
Well, even so, I mean, they could have just come straight down through the roof and put the panel board and popped over to it. I don't understand why unless they're using that panel board enclosure as just a box.
That could be possible too, because that would be the only explanation, as why they have, like, because you have an input and an output in that enclosure in that cabinet.
Well, I was looking at it. You've got your service coming into that box, and there's two coming out of there.
Yeah.
I have no
So you
idea
have to
why
go-
there's two of them.
Well, you'd have to go from your overhead to your meter, then you have to come out of your meter to your other.
How the hell would you do that?
Well, what I'm saying is the service conductors would have to pass through that enclosure. Like, let's just say you have a panel board there. Let's say they have, breakers that's inside that enclosure. They would have to take that meter stack. They would have to pass through the panel board enclosure, through that nipple going down, and then hit the meter, and then come back from the meter to supply that panel board. Then the load side of that panel board would be coming down through the roof as your other pipe. So,
No, but they ain't got enough pipes there to do that.
well, they have your.
If you
They
come
have
down,
your
hit a
over-
meter base with one of them, and you go back up, where's the next pipe coming out?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's why I was like, I don't see how they could do that.
Well, I'm saying that. Well, I guess the overhead would be going to the meter.
Yeah, that I'm just like, that just makes no sense what they did. That's some shoddy ass work.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say it was like AI and it wasn't real. And to me, honestly, I actually like your statement that it could just be used as a junction box.
Yeah, that's what I think they're doing. I don't even know how else it would work.
Oh,
But-
dude, and it's rated for a wet location, so it's good, right?
Yeah, no kidding. All right, cool. Oh,
Nah, dude, thanks so much for putting this together, dude. I have so much fun doing this. Always talk with everybody on job site, and dude, it's so funny. Like, one of the guys came up to me. He's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "What's the myth this week?" It was like some guy just randomly out of the blue just came up to me and was like, "Hey, what's the myth this week?" And then I told him, he's like, "I think that's just common practice." I was like, "No, it's in the code." And then he goes, "You know what?" He goes, "I'll go watch the show and I'll come back with the code reference." I was like, "Right on, dude." I was like, "That's what I like. I like people going and getting in the code and everything, because everyone out there, you guys are a profession."
I know where that's coming from. Anybody that follows the group stuff knows where that comes from.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I think it was probably Mike just having some intern or something post something out, maybe messed up. I don't know. I mean, I hope it wasn't him, but I don't know. That one was pretty bad.
Oh well. All right, let's wrap it up. I'm gonna go
Yep.
eat. I'm freaking hungry. Been a long day.
Everyone knows me. As always, remember, make every day an easy day. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining tonight.
Peace out. Everybody have a good weekend. We'll see y'all next Thursday.